We have a massive Texans update. I've been saying a lot about how the Texans need a wide receiver, and this seems like the perfect situation for a former player to come back home. Someone who was drafted 27th overall in 2013 that the Texans know all too well. Guy is a 5-time Pro Bowler. He's been to 5 All-Pros. I mean, what else can you say about him? He's on the screen. DeAndre Hopkins back to Houston. I think it's a great idea considering this team has no money. But we've been talking about what receiver do they add for a while now. But if you're new to Texans, I just hit that sub button. We're dropping Texans news all off-season long. It's in the off-season now. Super Bowl 59 just got done. Chiefs got absolutely barreled out. But let me know what you guys think. DeAndre Hopkins, a Texan. I've first thoughts, I was like, I don't think it's a good idea. He's 33. He's going to cost 10, 15 million a year. And I was like, I don't know. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, there's not a lot of good veteran wide receivers left. Not that D-Hop, I don't know if he has anything left in the tank, considering that Chiefs Super Bowl, he dropped a crucial pass on a 2-minute drill at the end of the first half. It was rough. But the fact that he's a rumor to go back to the Texans to potentially try and win a ring, I think that's awesome, right? The Texans are now contenders. He left them because they didn't pay him what he wanted. So what I'm expecting here is DeAndre Hopkins to be around $10, $15 million, similar to Stephon Diggs' contract. He is a veteran kind of guy. He's 33. He's not going to get a substantial amount of money, but you might be able to bring him on a 1-year, $10, $12 million contract. That's just what I think. Now, looking at what he wants to be at Houston, CJ Stroud can give him that opportunity. And honestly, for the limited options that we have, if we can't bring back Stephon Diggs, which is a good possibility, D-Hop, not a bad spot. Bring him in. Good veteran guy. You go get Jawan Jennings always. Deebo Samuel's on the trade block. There's a lot you can do here. And for D-Hop, honestly, he's not... Okay, how do I say this without putting Texans fans at ease? He's not washed, but he's not what he once was, obviously. And yes, these are the last few years of his career. Why not go back to Houston? City he loves, potential ring opportunity. He's still got some juice left. And the rumors of him potentially not wanting to play is a little bit bogus. So before the Super Bowl, there was some media that kind of asked him some questions. And he ended up going to social media saying he's not done yet. He doesn't know what everyone's heard about him retiring, but he is not done yet. He's since deleted that. But again, 12,000 yards, intends to play in 2025. It wouldn't really be a terrible idea for the Texans to say, we don't have a lot of money. Our offensive line's not the greatest. The amount of money we'll probably get is around 10, 20 million in cap space, and we might invest that on the defense, or it's just a question of what does Nick Caserio want to do, because I've heard rumors that they're going to bring in a big name like T. Higgins, and I've said this in past videos, but it doesn't make sense for them to do that. And I say that because they don't have the money to bring in T. Higgins unless you trade people on the payroll like Laremy Tunsil, or you get rid of, Shaq Mason and Dalton Schultz. Like the only way you get enough money to go get a T. Higgins or to go get a good offensive lineman like Trey Smith from the Chiefs, who's a free agent, that could be a good idea. Now, we did a video on Stephon Diggs. You got to sign him by the end of February. That's definitely something that's up in the air in terms of his future. So honestly, if the Texans don't bring back Diggs and somebody else buys his contract out, we could very well see a veteran name like DeAndre Hopkins thrown into the mix. Keenan Allen, veteran name, thrown into the mix. There's a decent amount of receivers on the block, surprisingly, between people that want to be traded as well as free agent signings. You got Higgins, you got D-Hop, you got Allen on the free agent block, and then Juwan Jennings as well. And then you also have other guys like Garrett Wilson, potentially on the trade block, DK Metcalf, George Pickens, the Steelers potentially shopping him. So there's a lot to love. And the only problem is you look at over the cap. The Texans' cap space is negative right now. Now, that is also dependent on if they can get Stephon Diggs' contract. If they can sign him for a longer-term deal, that cap hit number that says $16 million, that can go down to around 12 or 11, and you can save some cap there if you want to re-sign Diggs. Now, if you don't get Diggs at all, that cap hit, of course, can go away, but there's just so many different altercations as to what can happen with the Texans' money over the next month, and I'm expecting Nick Caserio to make some moves. And one thing you have to do, I don't care if you don't make the big moves and trade Laremy Tunsil, because I would love to bring in D-Hop, but the problem is you need to bring in the salary first. So I've kind of broken down the salary, but trade these guys. Shaq Mason, if you could trade him, get $11 million back, great. If not, just cut him. And looking at the cutting opportunities, Shaq Mason, you cut him, you save $9 million. I'd rather do that. Shaq Mason, veteran in his 30s. He was injured most of last season. He's not a bad option, but go draft someone. It's at this point, the offensive line is as bad as it was last year. I'm not too concerned with getting rid of a veteran guard who didn't really have much of an impact, no offense to last season. And this all ties into going to get DeAndre Hopkins. And let's take a look at his stats. D-Hop, 32, about to be 33 before the start of next season. Do you go get him for the right price? Of course. There's no reason you don't. But looking at his progress and how he's taken a step back, you could lowball him a little bit. 12, 15 million. But that's the thing. 32 years old. He's not going to get a long-term secure contract. He's not going to go to a team like the Titans because you already heard his thoughts about how he feels about playing with Tennessee. He was like, I lost love for the game. And that's what happens. No offense. But when you play for a team that you don't necessarily think is very good, they will make you miserable. And no offense to the Titans, but they've done that to a few wide receivers, Julio Jones in the past, A.J. Brown. Look at how much better he's been on Philadelphia. So D-Hop he's gonna be wise about his choice. He's not gonna go to any team. I think Houston makes the most sense, and there's been so many rumors that D-Hop could reunite with the Texans. He's back for a 13th season, so I love it. I feel like D-Hop makes the most sense ever to Houston, and it's the only problem that it could be is that you give him a multi-year deal. You give D-Hop like a 2-year, $35 million contract, and then I'd be like, you really spent that money on a 33-year-old DeAndre Hopkins. And I'm not taking anything away from D-Hop, but D-Hop in 2025 is not 2013 rookie D-Hop. I mean, that guy was something special on the Texans. And let's ask you guys, does playing longer tank his legacy? If he won a ring, he most likely would have retired, but saying he's going to come back before the Super Bowl, or after the Super Bowl, it's almost like if he won, would he have gone out on top? Is he now in one of the last years of his career? Probably. But no, that's the Texans Digest video for you today. I mean, let me hear your thoughts. This is what I want to hear in the comments is what receiver would you want in terms of what you can afford? Is it DeAndre Hopkins? Is it Keenan Allen? Or is it Juwan Jennings? Because those are the guys on the market, and those are the guys that are probably going to be the cheapest. In terms of a trade, I'll probably make a trade video saying, hey, these are the top 3 guys that need to be landing in Houston. The question of getting them is actually slim to none. Garrett Wilson especially. Love Garrett Wilson, but I don't believe he's coming to the Texans. Thank you guys so much for watching. DeAndre Hopkins to Houston? I like it. It's a good idea. Let me hear your thoughts. But this has been Texans Digest. Hit that sub button if you're new, and we'll catch you in the next video.